Creepo, aka Rich Girl. Hello. The day before yesterday, several German, preferably higher ranked, players were contacted by another player, and this is the profile of Rich Girl. She asked everyone for their Skype name, saying that she was a little girl and had no one to talk to right now. She also messaged me. Unfortunately, I didn't take any screenshots, but the conversation went pretty much like this. Hi, do you have Skype? Hello, yes, why? Who are you? Can we talk? I'm alone at home and have no one to talk to. Sorry, but first, get to know the people that you Skype with. Oh, come on, please. I'm still young and have no one to talk to, and no one wants to. Maybe I can offer you TeamSpeak. I wouldn't mind. It doesn't work for me. What's wrong with that? I've tried this many times and it doesn't work. Okay. But I'll make a new Skype account for it. Okay. Alright, I made one. It's called For Osu People. Okay. I added you. Immediately after I accepted the friend request, she contacted me. All that came out of my headset was a moan. Approximately 10 years old. Definitely female. I asked her to stop and said that she immediately lost her respectability because of this action. She apologized briefly and then asked me if I was into it. I told her I didn't like that sort of thing, and I also asked her how old she was. 8. Okay, that surprised me quite a bit. Then I asked her what she was doing alone on the internet because there are a lot of fake characters running around here who probably don't mean anything good for her. She claimed that she is all alone at home and no one cares about her and that she needs affection from me. I continued to block. Then I asked her if she had any siblings. She told me that she has an 18-year-old brother who teaches her dirty things that she wouldn't tell anyone about. Then she asked me if she could show me these dirty things. I said no again. Nevertheless, I asked what he was doing with her, and now you can probably guess, right? At the same time, I noticed that my internet connection was starting to suffer. However, my router reported normal bandwidth and no attenuation in the lines. Felt a lot like remote access. Congratulations. I kept my cool and kept the conversation going, and even when she told me she could do things for me on cam, I said no again. When everything got a little too strange for me, I brought my girlfriend to the conversation, whereupon the other side of the conversation, the 8-year-old girl, quickly lost interest. In addition, my network performance returned to normal relatively quickly afterwards. We then watched her play. Didn't look like she was ever interested in the game. After this failure for me, something similar happened with Dust Dice, who if you didn't know is a long-time German top player. Same scam to get his Skype. Tupsu also chatted with this quote-unquote 8-year-old girl. So creepy. Holy sh**. I would rather say bad troll, but if you're right, there wouldn't necessarily be anything bad about it. Maybe the here in Osu will be sorted out. Be careful who you deal with. Not everyone is who they claim to be. And freely sharing your contact details is also inadvisable, so be on your guard. Locked. Anyway, I decided to look up what Creepo was, and apparently it's the German name for a criminal investigation department. It's believed that Rich Girl is actually the German police trying to catch pedophiles in Osu. Finally, the original Rich Girl account actually still exists under richgirl_old. They were last seen over 4 years ago. On August 3rd, 2022, 2 men who covered up their face entered a Las Vegas vape store. When the owner of the store, whose name is Johnny Nwin, sees the 2 guys, he says,
"Why are you guys wearing masks like that?
Shit, what?
Can you guys just leave?
Nah, I'm just looking like it.
Take the money in it. I keep the coins. I need the coins. Bro, okay."
And so this next part I'm not going to show, but basically the smoke shop owner stabbed the robber 7 times. And then this happened.
Call 911.
Don't let me die, sir.
Calling emergency
I'm
services.
sorry. This wasn't my idea. Please
up.
don't let me die.
Hi, there's a robbery at my store, and one of...
So now you may be wondering, how does that have anything to do with Osu? Shortly after he stabbed the robber, he decided to go to r/robbersgetting and posted an AMA, aka an Ask Me Anything. Now there was huge debate whether this guy was in the right or the wrong. Basically, this was a very bad decision by him because he should have just remained quiet and got a lawyer. But apparently his lawyer told him that he could make this post and he'd be fine. A couple days later, the post gets removed due to violating Reddit rules. The stuff that this guy was saying in his AMA was pretty crazy apparently. You looked like you had some stabbing experience. Was that your first time, or did you play through similar situations in your head before? Never been in a situation before or anything similar, but I feel like I learned how to stay calm under pressure because of my experience playing League. Team fights made my heart rate rise, but I was able to keep calm in that. Weird how stuff in games can apply to real life. Thanks. I played a lot of League, CSGO, Valorant, and Osu. Now, somebody that I spoke to actually managed to have possibly found this man's Osu account. My worst choke of all time. Now watching the gameplay, I don't understand how he recorded it like that. I mean, the screen is not equal, the resolution is off. But anyway, the most important thing here is that we can see his username in the replay. Darkness3436. And by looking this name up, a profile actually comes up. Now going through his profile, his plays were pretty much from over 8 years ago. However, he was last seen 9 months ago. But you may be asking, okay, that could just be some random guy. How is this guy related to the crazy smoke shop drama? Well, by going to this user's profile, the first thing we can see on his Reddit is r/crazy videos. My store got robbed in Las Vegas and I defended myself. Now it's pretty coincidental to say that somebody who played Osu managed to impersonate this guy, Johnny Nwin, into believing that he plays Osu. I mean, the Reddit account has actual posts on it. It's not like it was like a fresh account. The chance that this was impersonation is super low. So it's most likely to be believed that this guy, Darkness3436, is Johnny Nwin. Also guys, one more thing. While I was recording gameplay to make this part, I noticed that while watching Darkness's gameplay, it's actually cheated. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. By watching the replay, you can clearly see that his cursor snaps way too crisp to the notes. And the sliders, he follows them perfectly. But the icing on the cake is look at the streams. His cursor snaps to each note individually perfectly. And by the way, it's not just one play. This man used cheats for multiple plays in his top scores. And just for good measure, I actually managed to find a play where he played legitimately, just so you can see the difference between a cheated play and a legitimate play. And oh yeah, 8 years by the way, his profile is still there after 8 years. Just thought that was crazy. Now the following topics that will be covered are pretty well known in the CIS region. They have been covered before by CIS YouTubers, but since you guys most likely don't watch that side of YouTube, I'm gonna bring it over here so that more people can know about it. Revexi is a D-ranker from Kazakhstan named Arthur. Arthur's life is not much different from the life of other Kazakhs, but one day, he had to go through those troubles that you would not wish on your worst enemy. The first case with Revexi happened back in the 7th grade. During a literature class, some unknown people started spraying gas in the gym, and it began to be distributed throughout the school building. After some time, Arthur and his classmates became ill, and as soon as information about gas spraying was received, evacuation began. Revexi was far from the main exits and eventually ran to the nearest emergency exit. The longer he searched for a way out, the faster the oxygen ran out in the corridors of the school, and Arthur slowly began to lose consciousness. When he reached the door, he found that it was locked, but fortunately, there was also a window nearby, which had not been touched for 8 years. But it was possible to open it. In the end, Arthur got out of the school building and survived. During this terrible situation, 13 school children were injured, and 7 were taken to the intensive care unit. The second case occurred in the mid-summer of 2021. Revexi was at home, playing Osu. Everything went as usual, but later, Revexi had the unfortunate event of having his relative push him into a corner of a wall, with the impact being his head. Shortly after, Revexi wrote about this event on social media and then went to sleep. Then, Arthur woke up with a disturbing thought that he was late for the Russian language class. And he also noticed that it was too hot in his room, which was strange because the last thing that Revexi thought was that he was in the winter. Revexi thought that his parents probably just overheated the stove, but there was a catch. It was not winter at all. He looked out the window and the date on the calendar and realized that it was in fact the middle of summer. One of the first things that he thought after waking up was, I gotta study. He opened social media and realized that there were tons of people that he had no idea who they were. After all of that, he went to the hospital, and that's when doctors knew something wasn't right. Revexi had just been diagnosed with amnesia. It was discovered that he lost his memory all the way back until February. Fast forward today though, and Revexi has pretty much remembered everything, except for the last 2 weeks in which he was knocked out. Jumpless was known for his videos on YouTube, where he reviewed funny guides from inept players who gave tips for improving in Osu. In the summer of 2021, according to information from his personal acquaintances, he was imprisoned under Article 228, illegal drug possession. This news touched many of his subscribers and acquaintances because the man was very popular in Osu Russian community, and no one suspected that he was capable of it. At the moment, he is in prison or on house arrest, and we will not be able to see him in the near future. Back in 2019/2020, Nwin was an ex-top 100 Osu player/content creator, and at the time, he was genuinely one of the most funny and entertaining creators that Osu had to offer. Me personally, I remember watching some of Nwin's streams and just being genuinely entertained. This guy always tried his best to entertain his viewers, and he gave off so much good energy. However, when you go to search Nalian's name up, you'll find out that there's pretty much no trace of Nalian left on the internet. All that remains are the archives of his previous live streams. And so, whatever happened to Nalian? Firstly, just based off my pure memory, I remember Nalian having some conflicts with his father regarding OSU streaming. Basically, his father said that if he doesn't make streaming work out, that he would have to get a full-time job and quit streaming entirely. This pushed Nalian to try to become the best streamer that he could, but ultimately it didn't work out as he saw his numbers start to decline slowly. Eventually, this led Nalian to step down from streaming OSU, and his new plan was to try to make content on other games and see if he can grow on that. I remember he had made some YouTube shorts about Genshin Impact, and they didn't do very well. There were other games too, I'm pretty sure, but since the channel was deleted, I really don't remember what it was. To also make things worse, Nalian also struggled with pretty severe mental health issues. Also worth mentioning is that Nalian also had to deal with things like missile strikes while live streaming.
I'll be right back, guys.
On November 20th, 2021, Nalian supposedly gave his final farewell message. Supposedly he already quit 5 times before, but this one seemed pretty dead serious, and what he was about to do was erase every trace of himself from existence on the internet. And so for Nalian, his goals of becoming a well-known live streamer were just way too stressful, and after he quit, he supposedly decided to go take a new passion, which was culinary school. So yeah, that seemed to be the final straw for Nalian. But then, on August 23rd, 2022, a new post to r/osu game titled "It's Been a While" said this: "Hello, some of you may remember me as an ex-top 100 player turned content creator named Nalian. On the 21st of November 2021, I made the rash decision to quit everything related to content creation and OSU as a whole and study culinary. Not everyone knew why I left or what was the thought process. I am diagnosed with a mental illness called OCD, which made live streaming a horror story for me. I felt like I didn't do the community any good while also not getting anything good from it in return. Nevertheless, life in the year 2022 has been a lot better than my streaming years. I live in a new house, I have a job, and I'm studying new things every day. While I am not active here anymore, for better or worse, you guys were always on my mind. I checked this sub more times than I'd like to admit, which led to me writing this." Anyways, Nalian goes to tell that he didn't end up doing culinary school, but instead doing stock market and real estate courses, and that he used to be scared to wake up the next day, but now he's ready to take on life and look forward to what he's accomplished. He truly made it out of the OSU rabbit hole. Siana6874, Megathread, Bulgarian multi-accounting ring. Here's a list of all the accounts, and let's see if some of these accounts are still up. All of them are still up. Yeah, every single one looks like it's still up. So obviously this was made by a bot. The real reason for it, I don't really know, but multi-accounting rings like this are actually more common than you think. There's not just this one for Siana. There's also another case involving Homecoin. I remember there was a hacker who flooded #OSU with a bunch of spam messages, and I'm pretty sure Homecoin were like the spam accounts that they were used. Not really too sure, but these Homecoin accounts are actually all banned now. But the weird part is, you can still search it up and the accounts will still show up as if they were never banned. But of course, going to their profile will show them all as banned, which is a pretty weird bug if you ask me. But as of today, the Bulgarian multi-accounting ring, all of those accounts are still around. Back in the day, there was a player named AdamQS. During his time, he was one of the best players and had some of the most unique skill sets the game had ever seen. His most popular score today is probably Wing My Way, a score which took over 4 years to be sniped and only by the current #1 player. However, on October 10th, 2019, he sent an EU General Data Protection Regulation request and requested for his account to be forever deleted. This meant that he could no longer log in back to his account and all of his scores would be wiped. That was until kinda recently, OSU added a feature where we were able to see AdamQS's plays in the form of deleted user _613592. Basically, if you want to delete your OSU account forever, under GDPR, you're actually allowed to, as long as you email staff and give a good reason. Now, AdamQS isn't the only person who's done this. Another player who you may have forgotten about is Maxim Bogdan. Now, similar to AdamQS, back in the day, Maxim Bogdan was a highly skilled player who reached top 30. The kind of crazy part is though, is that Maxim Bogdan still plays Osu just on a private server. And if you don't know what a private server is, a private Osu server is an unofficial server that allows players to play the game Osu with custom features and modifications that differ from the official Osu servers. For example, Maxim Bogdan still plays on a server called Akatsuki, which has leaderboards that allow you to gain PP off Relax. Nowadays, Maxim Bogdan is known as deleted user 5035700. Now, I feel like there would be way more deleted users, but that's the ones that we know that were top players. On screen right now is pretty much all of the other deleted players that we know of. Some of these include a ranked mapper, a bunch of German users, and a couple other ones as well. MyJH69 was a multi-use for multiple banned players. On December 16th, 2016, the former Korean top 1 player, Firebat92, tweeted this out. Someone asked me, that MyJH69 is your account? Yes, but no. I played that account in 2015, and MyJH69 is shared for banned Osu players. By looking up MyJH69, we managed to find much more information about him. Cookie Z versus MyJH69, Blue Zenith. Now for context, Cookie Z's play on Blue Zenith back then was arguably the most insane play for its time. There was pretty much nobody that could match this type of score. Except, on the same exact day, MyJH69 will also get a score on Blue Zenith Hard Rock. Now of course, Cookie Z's score was much better, but keep in mind that at this time, MyJH69 was pretty much an unknown player. Now let's go all the way back to January 7, 2016. Cookie Z had yet gotten another score that was unmatched for his time, Ridori. And yet on the same day again, we can find MyJH69 submitting another score. Hacker or some player I don't know about. Basically there's this guy, MyJH69, and after not playing for a few months, comes back and does some insane plays and has under 14k play count. He's a very old player who plays offline. I personally doubt he's legit, but I haven't seen anything that's so obviously cheated as to justify forming a solid opinion. As time went on though, MyJH69 was looking less innocent. Does anyone know why MyJH69 is not banned? Doesn't make sense. I mean, everyone knows he isn't legit. Why does he get a free pass now that he quote unquote doesn't have time to play? He's been sitting in the top 50 for 4 months, lol. How is he not gone? And so pretty much as time went on, people were suspecting that MyJH was a multi-account, a downright blatant cheater, or that it was an incredibly good offline player. But as we know today, MyJH69 was a multi-account that included AngelSim, aka Firebat92. And one of the things that led people to be more suspicious of this account was the last time AngelSim logged in is the day that MyJH69 came back and started climbing. The plot thickens. GusGH once told me that MyJH69 is the account that AngelSim used whenever you want to use his tablet. It's his tablet multi if you want. And if you don't know, GusGH, aka GusGH0825, was a banned player who refused to get unbanned, but can supposedly make over 1k PP plays. Now here's his infamous live play, and as I've said before, Flying Tuna also confirmed that GusGH was most likely not cheating.
He isn't cheater. I'm 80% sure that he's legit.
Anyways, MyJH would continue to climb, and more claims that he was AngelSim would also arise. But then, out of nowhere, this happens. AngelSim and MyJH69 are both online and playing. The plot thickens. But finally, on December 16th, 2016, MyJH69 was banned. Is LV Britannia, also known as EVB, a legit player or a cheater? Why? I honestly think he's legit. Otherwise, his first multi-account, Kane Highwind, would have been banned/restricted and not just locked with all of his top scores intact. You ask this question as though somebody in here will give you an answer based on facts rather than whether or not they like EVB. I don't think you will get an actual answer for this. People who think he is too good to be true will say he is a hacking time warper or whatever. People who think he's just amazing will say he's just amazing. Unfortunately, useless to ask this question here. So who is LV Britannia? From what it seems like, back in 2016, EVB was a player who came out of nowhere and started setting the best scores possible in Osu. He made a couple of live plays and nothing seemed really that wrong with them, but he also ended up multi-accounting a ton of times. It was rumored to be about 15 multi-accounts that he had. With this following information, there was a lot of people who believed that he just wasn't legit and that he was way too suspicious to be considered a top contender. I don't know if it's just me, but his tapping looks really weird. It just seems so effortless compared to people like HVIC and Rafis. Now at first glance, the live plays don't seem that suspicious, but the real major evidence for me is not the actual live play themselves, but rather what happens at the ending of each live play. What I mean is that at the very ending of each live play, he cuts his camera out. Now to understand why this is important, let me explain what Time Warp is. Time Warp is an OSU cheat that allows you to slow down the game and then re-speed it back up to submit the score at a higher speed. So for example, playing a map in no mod, and then by using Time Warp, you speed it up and submit it as double time. Now on the other hand, making a live play using Time Warp is a very bad idea. Basically, by speeding up your gameplay, you also have to speed up your footage, aka your hand cam. By speeding your hand cam up, it gets really obvious to understand whether you time warped or not. Now the thing is, with EVB's live plays, they don't look time warped. I mean, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but it doesn't look very cheated to me. But honestly, why cut out the camera at the ending? Why not just leave it? What makes it even worse is that in this live play, he doesn't even cut the camera out, he just goes straight to the ending screen. Doesn't even show what happens at the end of the map. For the most part, a lot of people definitely know that EVB was probably cheating, but for some reason he has a cult-like following that swears upon it that he was one of the best players ever. LV Britannia is someone you can qualify under the Korean Offline Mafia, which is basically a group of offline players and cheaters, all coming from Korea. For example, Biko, MyJH69, Dotbab, GusGH, and there's other people, but some people in the Korean Offline Mafia become legitimate players that are respected, for example, Dotbab. LV Britannia, on the other hand, definitely has not made it to that category and has now fallen to obscurity. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and if you want, check out all my socials. Later.